All right, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about Shakur Stevenson and Vasily Lomachenko. And Shakur Stevenson having called out Vasily Lomachenko, saying he wants to move to 135 after he beats Jamel Herring. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to talk about Shakur Stevenson, one of the best young fighters in boxing, and somebody I really don't think gets enough press, primarily because he's over there with Top Rank, and it seems like he's buried underneath Teofimo Lopez and Lomachenko and some other people that they really want to build up. But Shakur Stevenson, from what I can see of him, looks like he might actually be one of the best of the if not the best of that entire bunch. And he seems like he is absolutely willing to prove it, unlike some of the other guys that are in that division or, around that division. But before I get into the meat of the discussion, let me ask you, if you're not already subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video. It goes a long way towards helping grow the channel, and it would be greatly appreciated. So Shakur Stevenson has a fight coming up with Jamel Herring. And I think that this is probably, I think that this is going to be Shakur Stevenson's breakout fight. Jamel Herring is the WBO 130 pound champion, or is that junior lightweight or super featherweight champion. He's a very good fighter, man. A former Marine, somebody that that just got done beating Carl Frampton in very convincing fashion. Something that I thought, I didn't know that he would be able to do that to Carl Frampton. So he showed a little more than what I thought that he had in that particular fight. But, when he's going up against Shakur Stevenson, I really think that he's above his head. Stevenson is one of these fighters that, like Andre Ward said, really has the ability to become one of the, an all-time great, or one of, pound for pound best fighters in boxing. He can fight on the outside. He can fight on the inside. He's very, very defensively sound, smart. Seems, as the older he gets, the bigger he gets, the more power he gets. And when I compare him to the rest of the fighters at, around that weight, I think that he very well may be the best of all of them. And that's talking about guys like Chris Colbert, who's at that weight class, who is a very, very good fighter I think he's out of the same area as Shakur Stevenson out there in New Jersey, but somebody that really doesn't seem to have, he has all the skills, like all of the talent in the world. Chris Colbert is somebody that is very, very talented, fast hands, powerful, very instinctive fighter, but I don't know really if he has the style that is going to, beat somebody like a Shakur Stevenson. And then, you have Teofimo Lopez. The same thing I would say about Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez has, is a big fighter, strong fighter, and, somebody that, has the ability to knock out whoever, he gets in the ring with, or maybe not whoever he gets in the ring with, but, has a lot of power, man. But at the same time, I think that he may be a little bit too slow-footed for Shakur Stevenson, and Shakur Stevenson can get in and out on him. I think that Shakur Stevenson is probably a smarter fighter than Teofimo Lopez. And then if you go and, it carries on right through the rest of them. Ryan Garcia is somebody that I think, sizes up. He's bigger than Shakur Stevenson, but he just doesn't have the all-around package. So when you look at Shakur Stevenson and you look how he fights, you can see that, he's definitely one of the top guys there, but his problem is that he doesn't have the publicity that the other fighters have at this moment. Even though he came out of the Olympics with a silver medal and he signed with Top Rank, it just doesn't seem like Top Rank really wants to push him. So when he says, and as far as this Jamel Herring fight, man, I'm telling you, I think it's an 80-20 fight for Shakur Stevenson. I don't see there being really any way or anything that Jamel Herring has for Shakur Stevenson to hold him off, man, or to outscore him. Really, more than likely, Shakur Stevenson is probably going to outscore him. Jamel Herring is a rugged fighter. I wouldn't say he's really a come-forward fighter. He can do both. He's a balanced fighter, but I think he's just going to get out-jabbed. I think he's going to get pot-shotted, and the defense on Shakur Stevenson is really too good for him to do anything with. But after that, the question is, how does Shakur Stevenson really get his name out there. Now, and I think what he's saying with Vasily Lomachenko is exactly what he needs to do, because Lomachenko is somebody that none of the other fighters want to talk or really talking about fighting anymore now that Teofimo Lopez beat him, but it's probably the biggest and most risky name at lightweight that he could fight. So Shakur saying that he wants to go to Vasily Lomachenko, in my opinion, separates him from the rest of those guys at lightweight, because Shakur Stevenson, or right around that weight class, because they're going to wind up going from 130 to 135 to 140. So I'm not just talking specifically about that 135. The fight might, some of these fights might happen at 140. These guys, the weight classes are kind of elastic, but Shakur Stevenson, by saying and wanting to fight the veteran Vasily Lomachenko, who, by the way, is no joke, man, really, really is no joke, and still I think has the ability to beat Teofimo Lopez, shows, that that Shakur Stevenson has true faith in himself and in his abilities, and he wants to prove it. He's not doing what these other guys are doing, which is doing a whole lot of talking and really not fighting top-notch competition, or at least not really trying to fight each other. Like how Ryan Garcia goes back and forth with Riley Romero and Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, and they kind of going through all of this talking or whatever, but nobody's actually really wanting to face a guy like Lomachenko, because that guy's name has just left a whole lot of people's mouths. And also the thing about Vasily Lomachenko, Shakur Stevenson calling out Vasily Lomachenko, is that it's a fight that can really be made, because these guys fight at the same weight class. Shakur Stevenson, they fight at for the same promotional outfit, so it's under the same umbrella, and and that being Top Rank, and that's one of the biggest impediments to real good fights being made, is whether or not these guys are under the same roof. So like in defense of Devin Haney not fighting Teofimo Lopez, that could be more a situation with Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn, and them not wanting to make the fight, as much as it is Teofimo not wanting to fight Devin Haney, even though I have a feeling that Teofimo Lopez really doesn't want to fight Devin Haney, because he's they're already doing the Mayweather calculations, which is the risk reward, how much money am I going to make in this versus how much risk is it for me to lose, and I'm going to need that equation to be perfect before I fight somebody, at least. And I'm not saying Floyd Mayweather Jr. did that his whole career, but you get my point. But my hat goes off to Shakur Stevenson for saying he wants this fight, and I personally really, really hope that the fight is made, because I think that Shakur Stevenson has the ability to beat Vasily Lomachenko, right? Vasily Lomachenko is an older fighter who's kind of who should be on the slide pretty soon. Shakur Stevenson is on his way up, and when those two trajectories meet, depending on what time it is, where they are, Shakur Stevenson's got a real chance to, to become a star doing that. And especially if he really beats Vasily Lomachenko in a very, very convincing fashion. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.